Flugelhornist Michael Drake has been on the Milwaukee music scene for many years. He played with Family of Max, co-founded Nexus, and his recording a few years back of Jessica did well locally. He has a new project out entitled Life Stories Volume 1. I talked recently with Michael about his music and himself. Do you work exclusively on a flugelhorn?
Well, I practice on a trumpet, certain types of things, because it has a certain kind of a flavor to it, certain kind of a color. The flugelhorn I played in high school and college, and enjoyed the different feeling on that instrument. It's shall we say, it's sort of like a darker instrument. It's a warmer toned sort of instrument. I just enjoy feeling that horn. I'm a short guy, am I 4'3"? No, 5 foot. 5 foot. So a long trumpet, my arms, it's hard to hang on.
Oh,
to that
I
thing.
never thought of those practical things. And flugelhorn is
a little bit closer.
A lot of people draw a parallel between you and Mangione.
Yeah. From my own personal point of view, I don't try to really emulate anyone, because then you're copying. You can never copy anyone. You definitely have to be your own individual person, and I feel without a doubt that, of course, I am.
Is that a compliment to you?
Sure, definitely a compliment, because people like him make it perhaps easier for people like me to get in. Well, my earliest influences would definitely have to be people like Rafael Mendez, who's a Spanish trumpeter.
Is he a jazz musician?
No.
Or?
Well, yes, sort of. But only probably the trumpet players would know of Rafael Mendez. Al Hirt was a tremendous influence, and then of course the Miles Davis and people of that nature.
Who do you currently admire?
Always appreciate the accuracy of the Maurice Andre, who happens to be a classical trumpet player.
How do you categorize yourself, your sound?
I like to call it pretty honest music, because for me that's what it is. It's an honest reflection of certain life experiences that I've had, And so in that respect, it's a new category, if you want to call it, It's not new age or it's not this or that and the other, but to me it's honest music. Each song has a story.
Michael Drake began writing in the late 70s while with Nexus.
I'm 36 now, and I waited till about then to have had enough different types of things and studying and work to accumulate enough experiences to say, okay, now I'm going to write. So then I just wrote like crazy for a couple of years.
You do have a recording out, more than one. The first one you did was a piece entitled Jessica.
In fact, it actually wound up achieving a number 4 on the pop playlist of another radio station, which I'm sure I can.
WUWM.
Yeah, WUWM.
And did it hit places outside of Milwaukee?
Well, I know they sent it to the sister station in Los Angeles, but I don't know really how far it went. I'm really not too sure.
So monetarily, did you
break
even?
It always works out, because it was like a springboard to other things,
What year was that?
That I put out in 81, I think.
I want to talk money with you.
The
question on a lot of people's minds, a lot of musicians' minds, is what's it like being a musician here in Beertown? The rest of the world seems to have to leave in order to make it.
Yeah.
You're not leaving.
No. Well, I have a family here.
Uh-huh.
I've been married for 13 years. I've got a little 10-year-old boy. I like Milwaukee because at this point it's really given me an opportunity to develop my craft.
But musically, what's it like being a musician? Can you make a living here? Can you do other things?
Okay. I do an awful lot of different types of gigs, not only just my own.
Do you have a band currently?
Oh, sure. I have a 4 or 5 piece group that works with me. But at this time, I'm not performing my original materials because of these cassette albums that I'm putting out. I'm working on another one now. And I'm involved with probably 2 or 3 nights a week doing anything from weddings to private parties to all sorts of things. And I do variety gigs.
So you can make a living as a musician. So you do all right.
Sure,
it's not so dismal as a lot of people feel.
But you cannot afford to be a purist with your music and expect to make a living just off your own personal creativity. It doesn't work. You've got to be flexible. I do weddings, I play funerals, I do all sorts of stuff.
let's talk about the new tape. Tell us again the name of the tape.
It's entitled Life Stories Volume 1.
Does that mean there's going to be subsequent volumes as you grow older, huh?
Absolutely. I've got actually what I have is about 30 more songs that are finished recording, and I'm putting my overdubs on them. And so however many albums that's going to wind up being.
Why not an LP?
Expensive.
They're more expensive than the cassettes to sell?
Absolutely.
Or to make,
Just to make. The printing of the jackets, and it's expensive. And then you invariably have got to send these out to other places in the country to have them done.
Mm-hmm.
It's just expensive.
I know I'm pressing on money, but I'm pressing because that's where my musician friends feel the biggest problem is making it, paying the bills or fronting the money to do their projects. Will this cassette, how is it doing? Is it in the stores now, did you say?
Yeah, it's in the mainstream stores now. And I just have to get the time to go to like the Radio Doctors and the Rushmores and all the other different stores around, And I've got some airplay and some other radio stations and whatnot. And of course I do all that myself. But as far as financing all of these things, I've always been very creative.
So this is like your project, and you're putting up your funds.
Absolutely.
And then you'll hopefully remake the money you invested.
Oh, sure.
You write, you arrange, you perform. There's vocals on this tape that you gave us. You conduct, you produce.
And I pay for it.
What do you like best? What do you like to do best?
It's all a gas, it's all fun. When I go out and I do parties like Christmas parties or whatnot, or weddings or whatever, I sing and play music from the 50s to the 80s. It's you ain't nothing but hound dog, right? I sing all those songs. I know all those songs.
Well, I do too, but in the shower.
In the shower. But I get paid for that, As far as that, that's fun to do. It's genuinely fun to do parties. Of course, my main emphasis, of course, is my material, because that's my music. That's something that's come out of my soul.
Where do you get your ideas?
From an experience, something that moves you, and you have to let yourself be open to that.
Do you write every day?
No.
Just when the mood spurs you on?
Right. Well, the way it happens, if there's a situation, a feeling, whatever that comes over, I'll sit down the piano and just sometimes I'll prime the pump. I'll just sort of play things. Sometimes the idea is already there, and the idea sort of floats by like a little butterfly, and you have to recognize what that butterfly is. Whether that butterfly could either be a bass motive, or it could be the major melodic motif or something. But as the experience is, you recognize those things as being one thing or the other, and then you use that to create your music.
I'm jumping again, but I didn't want to forget about your current projects for the last some years. Am I correct?
Right.
At working in high schools and middle schools as well.
Absolutely.
In clinics. You want to tell us about that?
Well, a few years back, I started doing clinics on my own, bringing in 18-piece big band arrangements of my original compositions into the high schools, and seeing whether or not I could put on a concert with the high school playing my material. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I presented the ideas to LeBlanc Holton, which is one of the largest manufacturers of musical band instruments in the world. They said, well, would you like to be a clinician for us? This is great. So now I use their name freely, and I can really work just about as much as I want to doing that. And it's neat. It's neat. I enjoy it. It's a lot of give and take, a lot of feedback.
Sounds good. What great words of advice would you give us, a young musician? Yeah.
Aspiring musician? You gotta believe in yourself. Yeah, you hear everyone say that, though. It's a little it's a little cliche. Oh, it's true. You have to believe in yourself.